The climate crisis is here, and we are feeling the impacts of climate change. It is no secret that we did not accumulate the snowpack that we were hoping for in many parts of the province. And while we all hope to get more rain in the months ahead, we are taking action now to prepare for what could be a very challenging season. In fact, we are taking action earlier than ever, and preparations for this year's wildfire and drought seasons are already well underway. We are taking an all-of-government approach and have been working with local governments, First Nations, first responders, and people to create a strong plan for the season based on what we learned last year and in the years prior. The task force launched in October when we were at the tail end of dealing with active, out-of-control wildfires and still supporting impacting people. Since then, the task force has been working directly with teams from my ministry as well as the Ministry of Forests. This real-time collaboration allows us to build on what we learned through last year's wildfire season to implement actions to prepare us for the 2024 wildfire season. As the impacts of the climate crisis intensifies, we learned from past years that we have to be ready to support more people, even faster than before. Emergency support services teams are ready for any evacuations that may come. Funded by the province, these important supports are delivered by local governments and First Nations right within their communities. Emergency support services can help people cover the cost of immediate needs like accommodations, food, and clothing while they are evacuated from their home and in need of support. But in a large-scale evacuation, it can be challenging for communities to rapidly scale up and provide these supports to people in need. We saw that in the central Okanagan last year, when tens of thousands of people had to leave their homes over the course of a single weekend.
Drought continues to affect many parts of the province. Wildfire risk is higher than usual for this time of year, spring. BC Wildfire Service is preparing to fight spring fires. In fact, they already have fought several, and they're also preparing for what could be a very challenging season. At this time of year, most new wildfires are started by human activity. So it's incredibly important that when folks are out, that they be extra cautious enjoying BC's beautiful land and forests.
Targeted, temporary water restrictions may be needed again, but they are a last resort if voluntary efforts aren't enough to restore water flows and protect vulnerable fish and habitat from long-lasting harm that could take generations to recover. We're doing everything we can to avoid these kinds of restrictions, or at least delay the need for them as long as possible. This all builds on actions already underway across the province.
Our seasonal forecasts looking forward indicate that warmer conditions are likely to continue both in the near term from mid-March to mid-April and in the longer range from April through June. Now, one caution when we're looking at these forecasts averaging over multiple months is that they will average out the day-to-day weather and any extreme conditions, which is, of course, what is most important for our impacts. We will only know about these individual weather events in the days leading up to them, and it will be very important to monitor our forecasts through the season.